Hello, Godzilla, Rodan, and monster fans. Welcome to my another Godzilla review in the Godzilla Summer Special. And before I start, I'd just like to say I know that last week, I know that maybe I didn't have a video beforehand, and I'm not sure if the video right now, I don't know if I've missed 1 or 2 weeks without giving you guys a video, but because at the time of recording this, it is close to the day I'm supposed to upload, and now it's pretty early. But whenever I upload this, I just want you guys to know that the reason I've been holding off this review for a little bit longer is because I just didn't have enough motivation. But also, another thing too was that I was very worried that I wasn't really going to like this film, and I was very much dreading the fact that this film may not be as good as I remember. And I don't know if I mentioned that in my last review, but I want to, I remember Invasion of Astro-Monster being kind of not as great as I remember it to be, so I was dreading watching this film, and I was not very motivated to do it, but I finally sat down and watched this film, and now we're going to be talking about it. So we're going to be talking about the 6th film in the Godzilla franchise, Invasion of Astro-Monster. This is Godzilla's 6th film, and I believe it's Rodan's 2nd film, the 3rd film actually. Rodan had his first solo film. He had the Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, last time, and now we have Invasion of Astro-Monster, which is Rodan's 3rd movie. So as usual, I'll be talking about the English dub version of Invasion of Astro-Monster. This is the American English dub version. The name was changed to Monster Zero, and also there was another name called Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. So yeah, but for the sake of this review, I'm going to be calling it by its original title that I know it to be, Invasion of Astro-Monster. So yes, Invasion of Astro-Monster came out in 1965 and is a sequel to Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. They still do kind of refer to him as Ghidorah, which I really fucking hate, but they call him Monster Zero now in this film more often because they number him instead. Well, the aliens do, and aliens are introduced in this film, so this is the first film to tackle aliens in the Godzilla franchise. But yeah, I will be discussing this film as both a Godzilla and Rodan film, and they're not really that much different. They're both monsters that I like, and I just want to see a good monster movie. So yes, I will be discussing the English dub version, and apparently, from what I heard, Mothra was actually originally supposed to be in this film, but they cut her out for some reason. Now, that makes sense, considering this is a sequel, and I'm a little surprised that Mothra didn't show up in this film, because Mothra was a big part in the last film. She was the one that helped convert the monsters to good. But Godzilla and Rodan are the only monsters that reappear, as well as Ghidorah. Mothra is the only one that doesn't reappear in this film, which honestly is both. I mean, it's bad for Mothra fans because it's disappointing, because Mothra is a lovable monster. But at the same time, Mothra, I don't think, is really used to alien plots. She's more of an adventure type monster, so I guess I could see why maybe this tone would have been not fit for Mothra. But yeah, anyway, and also, we'll be talking about, we'll just do the regular thing. So without further ado, let's dive into this film and see what I think of it. Is it good, or is it as bad as I remember, or is it okay? So let's find out. So without further ado, let's get started. So the plot of Invasion of Astro-Monster is that 2 astronauts, one Japanese astronaut and one American astronaut, or at least the actor portraying him as an American, are going to this planet called Planet X, which was discovered beyond Jupiter by Earthlings. They were able to figure that out. So they go to Planet X to search for life and anything that is on there. And they find out that there's these group of aliens. I'm not sure what they are referred to but they're the planet. I'll just call them the Planet X aliens. So they're the Planet X aliens basically welcome the Earthlings and tell them that they want to discuss something with the Earthlings. They basically say that if the Earthlings give Godzilla and Rodan to the aliens so that they can fight off Ghidorah, who's attacking their planet now after he bitched out in the last movie, they will give them the cure of all diseases, all, like, everything you get sick from. They apparently have the cure, and so they go to talk with the people, the high people on Earth, and they all agree, and basically they lend the aliens the monsters. They do defeat Ghidorah in space, but the aliens end up betraying them, as they never were going to give them a cure, and they only use them to get to Godzilla and Rodan so they can control them, and Ghidorah is their monster that they control, and now they have 3 monsters at their disposal, and they're threatening to kill all humans unless if they comply with them and become their basically their slaves, you know. So yeah, it's a little bit longer than I normally do. There was a plot summary I could find, but it was very weird how they explained it, so I just explained it in my own way, differently than usual. So for starters, I'll talk about the characters. Now, the characters aren't actually too bad. Well, the main 2 are fine. The rest of the characters I'm not really going to be talking about. I don't, remember their names. They're not very memorable. So I'll be talking about the 2 main characters, which are the 2 astronauts, Fuji and the actor Nick Adams playing Glenn. So Fuji is the Japanese astronaut, and he is Glenn's friend. And he is not too bad. I mean, he's a good astronaut and a good friend to Glenn. He's a very intelligent, smart man, but we know that he's very strict with his sister. He seems to not let people date his sister, because I don't know. I guess because he's not very trustworthy with new people. So his sister is dating a new male. And Fuji doesn't approve of this man. I don't know why. They never go into detail on exactly what his reasons are. My only guess is that it's because he's protective and strict, and doesn't, believe he can, in his ability to, do something well. He makes a lot of insults, and it's really unfair, because, I mean, the man is in question. He's an inventor, and he's trying to sell his inventions, and he's not a bad person by any means. He seems like a nice man, so I don't know why Fuji always seems to hate on this guy. I mean, and it's very, honestly, weird. He just insults him, and it's like, I just think he's very strict in how he goes about it. They don't really explain any specific reasons as to why he exactly is against his sister dating. But basically, yes. Fuji is a good all-around character. I just didn't get... I just think it's kind of annoying how strict he is, I guess, with his loved ones. Well, at least with his sister. And insulting, a man that he doesn't really, honestly, know much about. And if he does, that's never established. So, besides him, we got the other lead, which is Glenn, played by Nick Adams. Now, a little tidbit about Nick Adams. Nick Adams is an American actor, and he's actually, and that's pretty rare. And now you might think, oh, he was added in the American version. He probably was just added in he probably was never in the original cut. Well, no, that's not true. He actually was in the original Japanese cut. So this is the first, and I believe only time, where they have an American actor portrayed as one of the leads that wasn't added in the American version. He was in the original Japanese version, which is quite good, honestly. And actually, I like Nick Adams. I think he's a great American actor. I think he's fun and entertaining to watch. Honestly, I like his character more because he's relatable, and I think he puts more emotion and depth into his character, and I really appreciate that. Nick Adams has, I believe, been in other Toho-related films, and he's a very famous American actor, but this was apparently one of his last few roles, as in 1968, he suddenly passed away 3 years after this film was released. So, it's nice to see him get a good movie role in one of his final careers in a Godzilla film of all things, and I really do think it's great. I guess what I like about Nick Adams' character is that he it's just how fun and energetic he is. He's just, he's the one. He has his suspicions about Planet X. He cares about his friends. He does fall in love with one of the Planet X members, even though he doesn't know it. And basically, he's just a great all-around character, to be quite honest. I mean, I just think he has a bit good development. He's very intelligent, he's very likable, and he does what he needs to. And I like that they put an American actor because it offsets the Japanese actor, and I can distinguish him, and it makes the leads stand out more because we have a Japanese actor and an American actor side by side acting together, and it's great. Although it is probably weird in the original Japanese cut. I haven't watched the original Japanese version with English subtitles. I only watched the English dub version, so I don't know. Apparently, from what I've heard, Nick Adams' lines were not, translated to Japanese in the original cut. He was speaking English in the original cut, while the other actors were speaking Japanese. But in the English dub, that's fixed because all the Japanese actors speak English. So it's probably weird in the original cut. So that might not be your cup of tea, because it's going to be kind of weird if you have one English-speaking actor, and then the rest are, speaking Japanese and they're all subtitled. In the original cut, whereas the English dub version, it sounds natural and makes more sense. But yeah, I like Nick Adams' character, Glenn, and I think Glenn is a very intelligent and good astronaut. He doesn't do anything that annoys me. He's not, a stereotypical American actor that, ruins the Japanese film for me. He's a good addition to this film and helps make it more entertaining. And I'm really glad he was able to act in a Godzilla movie, because now we can remember him for this film. While it may not be one of the better films, he did a good job with his role. And I know I was very vague with how I discussed it, but I can really only describe him as just a person who cares about everyone else and is a very intelligent and smart man. And is very open. He doesn't hold anything back, so that's good too. But yeah, those are the characters, at least the two that I'm going to mention. They're both good. I think Fuji's strictness with his sister is a little bit off-putting to me. It's just weird that he's so strict about a man that he doesn't really know much about. But it's fine. The Planet X aliens aren't really... they're okay. I mean, they're pretty much just walking robots and computers. They're not... and their weakness is sound. So basically sound... if you... a really loud noise and sound will basically weaken them. And that's pretty interesting. And honestly, the aliens portraying them really doesn't sound that off-putting, because they were very suspicious about it. I mean, in the beginning, no one was really suspicious about these aliens' intentions. You know, I mean, if you met an alien species and they told you they were going to give a gift in exchange for something that you gave them, how would you know that? I would have wanted proof of their gift and known that they weren't lying behind our backs before, But the people just seem to go along with it and think that they'll give them what they want. I mean, they think they get it, but it turns out it's just a tape recording of them saying that they're going to take over Earth. So it was kind of pointless. They trusted, another alien species who wanted peace, but they obviously didn't. They lied, and it's pretty. I mean, besides the astronauts, suspecting stuff, no one else on Earth maybe thinks that maybe these aliens may not be as trustworthy as we think they are. I mean, it's just kind of annoys. It's just kind of weird, to be quite honest. But the Planet X aliens, honestly, are fine. They're nothing special. There's nothing unique about these aliens. I mean, they look like Star Trek aliens or something. I don't know. There's just nothing, distinguishable about them, unfortunately. But otherwise, I mean, they're servable villains. They just don't do much, I guess. I guess they just don't do much to stand out. No like features besides being just robots who want to take over the world. Alien robots, of all things. How more sci-fi could you get? But let's just, but yeah, the aliens, they're okay. They do what they need to, but not one of the best alien villains ever. I'm sure down the road we'll find some, but I mean, the aliens do get a lot weirder as things go forward, but as these aliens are concerned, they're not really, they're okay. But they're not, they kind of, are just robot talking villains, so nothing special about them. So now we get to the three monsters, which are the main thing that I want to touch upon. So I'll start with the villain, King Ghidorah. So King Ghidorah comes back, and I'm going to be calling him Ghidorah because I'm not calling him Monster Zero, and I'm not calling Ghidorah. His name is fucking Ghidorah, and that's that. So King Ghidorah is the villain, obviously the villain monster again. Honestly, he does little, just like in the last movie. Except his name is not even in the title of this movie. It says Invasion of Astro-Monster, which I think is implying Ghidorah, but his name is actually not called. I mean, they do have his, reference name, Monster Zero, in it as the title in other versions. So Ghidorah technically has his name in the title again, and he barely is anything. I mean, the plot is sort of centered around him, but not really. I mean, he's a threat and endangering, but honestly, besides, when he attacks, the aliens and the Earthlings, he doesn't really do much in the final battle, and the final battle doesn't even happen until, like, I think the 5-minute mark, which is kind of weird and disappointing. It's just a bunch of there's nothing memorable about the fight besides, the ending sequence, which I'll touch upon later. But yeah, Ghidorah pretty much does the same thing he did in the last film. He bitches out, and he barely fights with them. Only for, like, I think 5 minutes. Or 4, maybe even less. And him and Godzilla fall into the water, and he just bitches, and he flies away, bitches out, and that's all. I mean, we don't see him get beaten up again. He still could have fought, but they just chose not to because it got later in the film. Because they wasted so much time on other shit. They gave us not little monster action, which is what this movie is kind of lacking in. But Ghidorah is great when he's doing the rampage. It's just his fights with everyone, with both Godzilla and Rodan are pretty disappointing. And considering how good it was in the last film, I'm kind of disappointed how it was handled in this film. But whatever, I suppose there's not much to say about it. But yeah, Ghidorah, he's just as kind of the same as he was in the last movie. Not really much different. I think though he was a little bit better in the last film because not only was he destroying things, but he was a very intimidating villain when he fought against, Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra in the last film. And while he only has Godzilla and Rodan to fight against this time, and Mothra is out of the mix, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have more good monster action with Ghidorah. It's too bad. But yeah, Ghidorah is just the typical villain monster. So on to Rodan. Rodan is severely underwhelming in this film than he was in the last film. He was fantastic with Godzilla. And don't get me wrong, he was good with Godzilla in this film, but he didn't do as much as he did in the last film. They really fucked up Rodan's chance to have another good outing. He was fantastic in the last film, and in his solo film probably too. He was good. I'll cover that eventually, but yeah. But Rodan barely does anything in this movie. He fights Ghidorah with Godzilla, and he rampages when he's taken over by the aliens until they break him of the brainwaves. I guess one moment that maybe stuck out to me, a Rodan moment, is when he picks up Godzilla to do a move on Ghidorah. So he picks up Godzilla and throws Godzilla right at Ghidorah, and they go tumbling down the mountain. That's the scene that I'll be showing. And it's a good scene. And it's ambiguous for all the monsters because we don't know what happened to them besides Ghidorah. And I'll just show the clip of so here is Rodan picking up Godzilla and throwing him with Ghidorah off the cliff. And let's look at it and see how, because it was a pretty entertaining scene, I'll say that. And it was and because I have stuff to say after the clip that I have questions on. So here you go. So that was basically what happened with Godzilla and King Ghidorah. So you might have noticed that Ghidorah, I don't know if I'll show the entirety of the clip, but like I said, Ghidorah flew and bitched out. Now Godzilla fell into the water, so we can assume that, like in most movies, he's not fucking dead, obviously. Godzilla pretty much lives in the water, so he probably just swam away because Ghidorah left. Now there is a question I have. Where the fuck did Rodan go? Rodan threw Godzilla off the mountain with Ghidorah, and they never show what happened with Rodan. Just like how they never show what happened to the Godzilla. Now Godzilla, it's pretty easy to make assumptions, and maybe you could assume that Rodan flew away, but they never show what Rodan does. Where the fuck did Rodan go? He's always in the mountains, so I'm assuming he's just gonna fly into the mountains again, and just, go back to his sleep that he was in the beginning. But they never show what happened to Rodan, and that was disappointing. I do like that move, and I like that he, made that with Godzilla, and that was pretty awesome. But I'm just disappointed how Rodan was handled in this film because he barely got any monster action. Well, he had, him and Godzilla both fight Ghidorah, towards the end of the film, and he does, destroy the city, but, besides that, there's not much I can really say. it's just lacking in, you know, the stuff that it's just lacking with Rodan action. He just doesn't do anything that stands out, and it's disappointing, you know, because he was great in the last film with Godzilla. He did a lot of entertaining things, but now, you know, we don't have that now. He basically fucking, you know, is relegated to just destroying stuff, and, you know, helping Godzilla, but he doesn't do any cool moves. He doesn't do anything interesting like he did in the last film. But yeah, that's why I think of Rodan anyways. Now on to Godzilla, the star of the franchise, and the one we always talk about. Godzilla's pretty entertaining. He does have a couple moments, 2 moments in fact, besides that one. One scene I like is when these 2 scenes are going to be close together with each other. So Godzilla drop kicks Ghidorah when they're on Planet X, when him and Rodan get kicked up, woken up by Ghidorah, and it's pretty funny. Take a look at this scene of Godzilla drop kicking King Ghidorah. So that was one Godzilla scene. The other Godzilla scene that I like is when he does this little fucking weird dance after, you know, him and Rodan beat King Ghidorah. It's very funny and entertaining and hilarious. Take a look at the scene of Godzilla making this weird fucking dance. It's very infamous. You've probably seen it if you're a Godzilla fan like me. But yeah, take a look at this scene. But yeah, besides that, Godzilla, just like Rodan and Ghidorah, only has a little bit of monster action. They're not even shown until like the halfway point. It's disappointing. Both him and Rodan had so much interesting stuff in the last film, but this film, they don't have anything. They just get relegated to, a few entertaining moments, but not really anything groundbreaking. I think the destruction with the city is fun, because the fight with Ghidorah is just very little. They don't do anything interesting. So I think the best part of the movie is when Godzilla, Rodan, and King Ghidorah just lay havoc on the city, because the monster fight at the end is too little, too late. It's just not enough. But yeah, Godzilla is fine. That's really all I could say of it. It's okay, but it's not really anything groundbreaking. They have a few moments, but it's just an underwhelming film in my opinion. But let's just get into my final thoughts, since I really don't have much to say about this film. And I'll explain, you know, my rating as usual. So I'm going to give Invasion of Astro-Monster from 1965 2 stars out of 5. So, why did I give it 2 stars out of 5? Well, like I said, it was very underwhelming. The lack of monster action really grinds this film to a halt. None of the monsters do anything entertaining or very inventive. It just doesn't have any good monster scenes like it did in the previous film. And while the humans are fine, it's just the main 2. They don't really do anything groundbreaking. You know, they're not. They're fine on. They're probably what maybe boosted the film up. They were good. They weren't bad. But I think the problem is that there really wasn't any scenes that I could show of them that, you know, showed any distinct moments of their character. I guess there just wasn't any defining moments for them, at least in my opinion. They had many good moments in the film. The characters were fine, the main 2. The others were kind of bland as usual, but that's Godzilla for you. So while the characters may have been good, the monsters were just lacking, and that's an issue. The characters can be good, but if the monsters aren't that great, then what's the point of watching it? It's an okay film, and it has good, entertaining moments, and it has the aliens in it, which, you know, maybe gives us a nice twist, and the characters are okay. So I guess that's probably why I would give them 2 stars, because I mean, the aliens are a nice way to, you know, shake things up a little bit, and the characters are at least somewhat interesting, but the monsters are severely lacking, and this is an underwhelming sequel that should have been a lot better, and it's disappointing that it wasn't, but what can you do? But those were my thoughts on Invasion of Astro-Monster. It's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. It was okay. It was underwhelming, sure, but thankfully I finally, you know, watched it, have given you guys the review, and now I don't have to watch it ever again. Of course, but yeah, that was... If you like this video, if you enjoyed this video, please like the video. If you did, comment down below your thoughts about Invasion of Astro-Monster. Do you think this film is a very good film and I'm not giving it enough credit? Do you think it's really bad and think that it's, you know, kind of like me, where it was just very underwhelming and didn't do much? Or do you think it's an okay film and maybe is a little bit better than I'm saying it to be, but not, you know, really good? But comment down below your opinion about Invasion of Astro-Monster and what you think about this film in particular. And subscribe for more monster content like this. I will be continuing the Godzilla reviews for the month of August, and then that'll be the end of it. I will not finish the franchise, as I've already said, by the end of the summer, so I don't know how many, you know, Godzilla reviews left I'll get. I would like to at least finish the 60s era of Godzilla movies and maybe some 70s ones. We'll see how far I can get each week, but thanks for being patient with me with this film. I really was just trying to get myself motivated to do it, and it was what I was gonna think of, and it's pretty much what I thought it was gonna be, and that's why I held it off. But I was able to power through it, and now I can review it, and now I've reviewed it, and now I can review my thoughts. Would I recommend it? Not really. Unless if you want to see a sequel with Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I mean, you might get a few interesting moments. You maybe think the film, maybe you'll have a different judgment of the film, but I don't really recommend this film. I just don't think it's worth... it's just not a very good film in the Godzilla franchise, and just... in my opinion anyways. You can make your own judgment, but I would definitely recommend the English dub, because with the American actor and Nick Adams there, it's probably going to be a little bit weird for people with the Japanese version. But if you want to give it a shot, go ahead. But if you're like me and prefer, you know, English dubbing, then, you know, subtitles, then do that. But that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and next time I'll be covering Ebra, Horror of the Deep, the 7th film in the Godzilla franchise. And oh boy, we're scraping down the ship barrel now, because I definitely don't think this film will be as good as I remember it. Let's hope it's at least a little bit better than I think it is going to be, but it probably won't be. But yes, next week I'll review Ebra, Horror of the Deep. Thank you guys for joining me this week for this review. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I said I would make up for the reviews, but I'm starting to think I won't be able to do that. So just know that I had my reasons, and if I feel like giving you 2 movie reviews, I will, but I probably won't. So, but see you next time, and as always, peace out.